The clothing that you guys are wearing on your very backs at this moment could somehow end up on someone in a third world country. This is because of fast fashion. Fast fashion, in a more easier way to put it, is basically the fast production of clothing that's sold for a cheap price. According to WRI.org, clothing production has approximately doubled in the last 15 years, and a majority of that clothing production is from fast fashion. This is an important topic to know because I feel as if people all purchase clothes. We all buy clothes. We all wear clothes. And I feel as if everyone should know the origins of what they buy. So to understand fast fashion just a little more, we're going to speak on how it works, the controversy behind it, and the changes that the industry has made due to that controversy. Fast fashion functions because of supply chain management. So supply chain management is basically the managing of flow of goods and services within the retail world. With supplying and managing all these things, it results in excess cost cuts, faster delivery, and it also allows for new designs to be produced really fast. Many of this clothing is produced overseas, with India and China being the number one clothing manufacturers in the world. You guys may not know, but you guys actually pretty much love fast fashion, even if you don't know it yourself. And the reason why you love this stuff so much is because it's trendy and there's new styles and it's inexpensive and it's very quick and easily accessible. The most top two fast fashion retailers in the world are H&M and Zara. Zara's parent company, Inditex, is actually the number one clothing retailer in the whole world in general. Zara can produce new garments in as little as 15 days, which is honestly a pretty big deal because back in the day, it used to take forever for someone to make a design and for it to get made and then for it to finally come back and be put into a store. The fact that we can have new clothing within like 2 weeks is honestly crazy. And honestly, a little unheard of too. Maybe for someone back in the day. Zara also gets stock about 2 times per week. Which normally for people it's about 3 weeks to 2 weeks. Now that you're a little bit more aware of what fast fashion is, we're going to get into the controversy. Most people tend to have a problem with fast fashion because they feel as if it violates human rights and it also causes environmental harm. So starting with the human rights violation, many of the workers who work in these factories are underpaid. They make about 39 cents per day, which is pretty much nothing, but they honestly don't have a choice. The New York Times said that there are 13 million people working in factories within the supply chain alone. Which is honestly a crazy number. That's a lot of people working in those factories. These people also work in harmful and abusive working conditions. They have long hours with no breaks. They work in dirty and dusty environments. And there also tends to be a lot of factory fires, which results in deaths. One of the biggest factory fires incidents was the Rana Plaza accident in Bangladesh on April 24th, 2012. 1,127 people were murdered. Well, not murdered, were killed because of this. And many people were still stuck under the rubble days after. Now we're going to get into the environmental harm. Many people believe that fast fashion is very wasteful. A lot of people feel as if the clothing that they donate is being sent away to a good cause, but most of the time, only 15% of that clothing that we donate is actually going to people in need. The rest of that percentage is going into landfills in different countries such as Haiti. And when these clothings are piled in those landfills, it takes years to decompose. So basically it's just sitting there and producing waste. Another reason why people think fast fashion is wasteful is because the limited garment life. UN Environment.org says the number of times a garment is worn has declined by 36% in 15 years. This basically means that the quality of clothing has diminished, and basically now that we have fast fashion, we don't get that many wears out of our clothing. So basically, you're buying it and it's not lasting long, and then you're just going to have to buy more. It's just being wasteful, they think. A second issue with environmental harm is the large water usage. Fast fashion is the largest consumer of water supply in the world. Just to make one single shirt takes 3250 liters of water to make. And it takes about 7,000 liters of water to make a pair of jeans. People also feel as if pollution is a big problem from fast fashion. The ocean gets a lot of toxic waste runoff, such as from there's mercury and arsenic, and our clothing is made with plastic fibers, and those microfibers end up going into the ocean as well, which obviously plastic isn't too good to be in the ocean when there's animals and there's stuff that we need to conserve. There are also greenhouse gases that are released in the air and carbon emissions due from all the coal power factories that make the clothing. So due to all those problems, there have been changes in the fashion industry. Retailers have made sustainable clothing collections. They have been recycling material and have encouraged people to now try to recycle material. Basically, old things that people will donate will now be used and turned into new garments. And now they also use organic materials. There are no more fertilizer sprays used on these fibers anymore, and now they use natural things like natural grown cotton and things like that. So basically, fast fashion is basically just the fast production of goods that were sold at a very, very low price. And it works based because of supply chain management. And basically we have the controversy, such as environmental harm and human rights violations, and how the industry has reacted to that as well. Now the next time that you walk into a store, you'll know the meaning behind your clothing.